Welcome to our latest edition of Huckins on Film. I'm Kyle Huckins, and we are talking movies. I'm sitting here in my car. It's like 10:30, 11 at night. I just got out of seeing the Total Recall remake. Surprisingly good. I'm kind of in shock. Like any movie, I'm going to start by talking about the trailers I saw. Well, the ones I remember. The memory it's not good. Apparently, the RZA of the Wu-Tang Clan is doing a kung fu film called The Man with the Iron Hands. Saw that trailer. It looks nuts. I really want to see it. It looks fucking crazy. Now, it definitely looks like a throwback to those old kung fu flicks you used to catch on Kung Fu Theater on Saturday afternoons. It looks fucking wild. I'm very interested. Had a trailer for Taken 2. Oh, gee, I'm gonna have to watch Liam Neeson be badass and kill stuff. God damn it. Yeah, I'm kind of psyched about that one, too. Saw the one for Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained. I fucking hate Tarantino, I really do. I don't care. And also, it's nice to watch him film a western and use 70s funk in the soundtrack, because that makes fucking sense. No, that's not all that pretentious twat trying to make damn sure you know it's a Quentin Tarantino flick more than anything. Fuck that plagiarist in the ass. Fucking heck. I'm trying to remember some... I know there's more than that, because it felt like there was a marathon of trailers, but I don't recall them all. Ba-dum-bum. Inadvertent pun there. I apologize. Yeah, those are the big ones. I know there's some others, but I guess they weren't good enough to... I've seen some other ones recently that I actually talked about them, and I filmed one for Dark Knight. I'm not putting it up. I don't think it's very good. So, I'm just... Hey, there's a little more light. So, I'm going to skip that one. The Bourne Legacy, which comes out next week. If, like me, you watch The Avengers and you're like, I want a fucking Hawkeye movie, this is probably it. You know, it's Jeremy Renner playing Jason Bourne, basically. Well, he's playing Aaron Cross, who's another agent from Project Treadstone, which the Bourne films are in. He's not playing Bourne, he's just a similar guy caught in the same wheel, so to speak. But it looks pretty... It's got Jeremy Renner with a gun. Hard to go too wrong there. Yeah, those are the only ones I can really remember. And also in the theater, I saw a poster for the upcoming Dread flick. Please don't disappoint me. Please don't. Because everything I've seen so far looks so good. If it's a bad movie, I'm gonna cry. It's gonna be tragic. Okay, now we got the trailers out of the way. Now for our feature presentation. Total Recall. It was pretty good. I'm honestly more surprised isn't the fucking word. It is a really good movie. I saw the trailers, I'm like, this looks like crap, whatever. Now, if you go in comparing it to the 1991 with Schwarzenegger, you're going to be pissed, because it's not even the same story. And if you go in comparing it to Philip K. Dick's We Can Remember It For You Wholesale, I have no idea how you're going to react, because I've never read it. I'm assuming it's not very close to it, but I don't know how close Arnie's was to it. And I say this as an Arnie fan, especially when directed by fucking Paul Verhoeven. If you don't remember that name, you need to watch RoboCop at least 5 times. And if you do remember that name, watch RoboCop 5 times anyway. You'll thank me. Great movie. But, yeah, honestly, and, you know, in your head, you can't help but compare. Look, I like Colin Farrell a lot. You know, especially in Horrible Bosses. I thought he fucking stole that movie. I think he's a credible action hero. I think he's pretty good. He's not Arnie. Who the fuck is? Come on. You've seen Command. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to break off for a second. I saw the funniest trailer of all time. Fucking Red Dawn remake. This movie's gonna be so stupid. It's awesome. Because apparently the concept of dated versus timeless has never occurred to some people. So now we have a remake of Red Dawn. And this movie looks... I can't wait for the fucking riff tracks. Because this... Oh, God. Who fucking greenlit this? The hell were they thinking? Oh, it's just... I mean, and there's so many scenes you can tell, like, wow, you just changed a few names and places from the original. I mean, yeah, okay, it's starring Chris Hemsworth, who I love. You know, I loved him as Thor. I've heard he's great in others. I've never seen him in anything else. He can't do an American accent for shit. You know, when your all-American hero is obviously sounding like he's from Australia, you fucked up. I imagine it doesn't get any better from there. Again, I'm kind of tempted to see it because it looks fucking terrible. Also, the other trailer I remembered, the new James Bond, Skyfall. Skyfall looks really good. I'm there for Skyfall. That looks... Especially because, A, I love the Daniel Craig Bond, and also, it's got Naomi Harris in it. If the name doesn't sound familiar to you, you need to watch 28 Days Later. She plays Selena in it. 28 Days Later is probably my favorite fucking movie of all time. So I'm very psyched she's in it. Great actress, too. Capable of being very human and very badass at the same time. Because she did not fuck around in 28 Days Later. Anyway, sorry about my little interruption. It's just the way my shit memory works. But Total Recall, it was a good... As a friend of mine on Facebook said, this is some of the best... This almost gave him hope that CGI could compete with practical effects in terms of realism. Sorry, a little gas. As a CGI hater, I was impressed. The CGI in this was really good for the most part. It was almost seamless most of the time. I mean, in the ending, there were a few parts that weren't perfect. That they looked bad because the rest of the movie looked so good. But yeah, the CGI in this was really good. I was really impressed. Like I said, I am a CGI hater. I fucking hate CGI for the most part. This was really good. You know, this wasn't like Prometheus, which, I'm sorry for all the money they spent in that movie. That CGI was shit. Ugh. Sorry, all I have to do is say the word Prometheus. I get angry now. That's how bad that movie was. But yes, the CGI was very impressive. Jessica Biel... Oh, crap. It's been a while since I've seen the original Total Recall, so to compare the two is a little hard. Oh, another visual thing. If the number of lens flares in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek drove you nuts, don't see this. Because Len Wiseman, Jesus Christ. And I like the overall look of the movie. You know, it's a total homage to Blade Runner, but Blade Runner and Total Recall both owe their existences to Philip K. Dick, so them looking very similar, I have no problem with that. I don't think they take place in the same universe, but whatever. Like I said, I'm not a big enough Philip K. I haven't read that much Philip K. Dick. I don't really read science fiction. And honestly, the stuff of his I've read, I didn't like very much. I really liked the movie Blade Runner a lot more than Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. That's neither here nor there, though. Let me see. One thing I didn't like was, if you remember, Sharon Stone played his fake wife in the original, and the big bad's right-hand man was Michael Ironside. Yeah, Yeah, okay, I'm going to have to get into spoilers here. I'm sorry about this. Actually, I think they've pretty much given us away in the trailers, but fuck it. They're basically fused into Kate Beckinsale. Okay, well, I think Kate Beckinsale is much better looking than Michael Ironside and Sharon Stone. In terms of badassery, and she's not to be trifled with in this movie, but she's not Michael Ironside. Again, I'll cut her some slack, because no one's Michael Ironside but Michael Ironside. Guy's awesome. But she is very good in this. And in fact, they kind of set her up as being a little different, because her character was always in competition with Colin Farrell's while they're on the same side. So there's a lot of professional jealousy between the two, which they explored it a little bit. They didn't get balls deep into it, because a lot of this is a mindless action picture. That's all it is. But it's a very well done mindless action picture. I mean, there's a good sequence in the middle of that film. It almost felt like a good 40 minutes where it was just, they didn't let you breathe. But it held your attention. Like, you didn't get bored with it. Now, sometimes you see an action scene that's so wild, goes so long that you just get bored with it no matter what the hell's going on. That didn't happen here. It was very well executed. Let me see, our other main character, Jessica Biel. She was alright. She didn't blow me away. I didn't find her, distractingly terrible, though. She was competent. Also not hard to look at, but that was one of those, she was competent. There's also the best friend, who's kind of worked for both sides, played by Bokeem Woodbine. Another one, he's working his way up the that guy ladder. Just fine with me. This world could always use more good character actors, and he does a fine job. I really don't want to get too much into the story. Now, then again, you've probably seen the original if you're going to go see this. If you haven't seen the original, it is a better movie. But this is surprisingly good. I was genuinely impressed. There were some nice callbacks. Some of them subtle, some of them not at all. They brought back the chick with the 3 tits because everyone knew, no, you can't make Total Recall without. Even though really they could have. It's one of those scenes you definitely remember from the original, but it wasn't really necessary. And I mean, I like titties too, but I don't know, a girl with 3 of them, it's just weird. The physics, it's just, it's only got 2 hands anyway. It's just, it would just be awkward, I think. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd totally be in there if she wanted me to, but I just, Again, I'm nitpicking because it's what I do. Now, the script does have one thing that can kind of get on your nerves. That it is written by Kurt Wimmer. He directed Equilibrium and Ultraviolet. And he does have an unfortunate penchant for the invincible hero. And you can tell they controlled that tendency to a degree in this, but there are times where it's still like, oh, come on. He's still a dude. He's not Kryptonian. Yeah, the guy who loved Batman Dark Knight Rises is complaining about the boring invincible hero. I would say, the guy who loves Batman is complaining about, but yeah, he did. Again, he's kind of held back in this, but there are times where it's kind of like, okay, he's a T-800, isn't he? But like I said, if you really don't like Kurt Wimmer's stuff, this isn't going to change your mind. But, I liked Equilibrium. Ultraviolet's one of the dumbest things I've ever watched. It looked great, but, oh, the stupid, it burns. Reminded me of something else, but I'll get to that I'll get to that when I wrap this up. Okay, this time they don't even go to Mars. It has nothing to do with Mars. The colony is actually Australia. Because only England, Australia, and parts of Western Europe are even habitable after global chemical warfare. So, you have your fucked up atmosphere plot point. You have all the basic plot points, but they never leave the Earth. And the transit system is actually a shuttle that goes from England through the Earth to Australia. And I'm not a physicist, but some of the stuff that happens with this is dodgy. Like I said, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they did their homework, but I just get that feeling of, no, I think not. But yeah, you know what? I'm not going to really get into the spoilers of the movie. But overall, like I said, the CGI was perfect. Or was nearly flawless. It's a pretty enjoyable movie. I would recommend seeing it. Kate Beckinsale is badass as hell in this. Honestly, it's another thing that kind of fouled up is she's more badass than Colin Farrell is. But the story was simple. It was a lot less ambiguous than the original was. It's kind of bugged. I kind of liked how at the end the original Total Recall, you still never totally felt quite sure of whether he was Quaid or Hauser. In this, you know. You know who he is. So it's not as weird, it's not as ambiguous. And the gore is definitely toned down from the original. And it's also not as goofy because you remember the scene with the disguise where Arnie's got the fake head on? They actually have a woman walk by. I don't know if it was the same actress or just her doppelganger. Doppelganger. One of the umlauts. But you see her walk by. It's not her, but it's one of those nice little nods. In fact, it wasn't a nod to the original, but while riding through the Earth back and forth between the colonies and England, Colin Farrell is reading a James Bond book. I forget which one, but one of those little bits of, yeah, a little bit of foreshadowing. It's not terribly subtle for anyone who's looking at these things. But it's, all in all, yeah, see the original first. The original is a superior flick, easily. But this was surprisingly good. And also, really no surprise, Kate Beckinsale has a big role in it because it was directed by Len Wiseman, who also directed the Underworld films, and is also married to Kate Beckinsale. Lucky bastard. Another thing I loved in this movie is she has kind of an American accent to start with, and then once you find who she is, she goes back to her British accent. Which, first of all, not only is she good with the voice in that regard, but Kate Beckinsale with a British accent. Oh, accent porn. Big fan of that. But would I recommend seeing it? Yeah, I would. Don't go in to compare it to the original because they're two very different films. They really don't. There's no point in trying to compare them. As much as I enjoy both, you know, they're just so radically different in most regards that I wouldn't bother. I gotta roll down the windows. It's fucking hot in here. Not too much ambient noise. But anyway, I think that's my cue to get out of here anyway. Traffic is eased up and whatnot. So anyway, yeah, final verdict. Go see Total Recall. You know, I'd catch it like a matinee or whatever. You know, don't kill yourself trying to see it, but if you get a chance to watch it, yeah, do it. That's pretty good. Oh, that was when I said Mila Jovovich before, I remember the other trailer I saw. Yeah, another Resident Evil movie. Who gives a shit? I certainly don't. Anyway, this is Kyle Huckins for Huckins on Film, fucking off.